Welcome to Unlocking Freedom in Nature and Art.
I'm excited to be here today. Tammy, how about you?
I am. It's a great day, right? Great week. It's very cold here. So I went outside this morning and it was only 10 degrees.
That's crazy. We know, Tammy, right, that there's a lot of things going around. Lots of flu, lots of illness, but we want to wish you all to get better, and we want to still encourage you to enjoy the outdoors or nature, opening a window one way or another, right? Because that's what nature is about, wellness. And we hear you. We've gone through it ourselves, but we want to send you tons of
Prayers and hugs.
wellness wishes. And we
Yeah, because
have
I've been
a
sick myself.
yeah,
So is our guest Irene. So yeah, open those windows, let that fresh air in because it actually helps get rid of those germs.
or
So, but
if it's too cold, bundle up and just breathe fresh air. I mean, listen to your body. You know what you need or you don't need, but also make a conscious effort to do something different so you can get that vitamin D from the sun or supplements that are very good, high quality. And we are happy to have here Irene. She is from New York. Hello, Irene.
Hi, so nice to be here. And I love the way you started this conversation because it is so important. And I always keep the window cracked, at least, for my cat as well as for myself, because he has to have the fresh air. So really great tips.
it is. And what's funny is it's like our pets know because our cat, whenever it's sunny out, she goes into this one special spot and she just lays in the sun. Even though she knows it's too cold to go out. So,
Yeah.
but it's funny how pets even know that nature is good for you, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So, but if you do go outside in our cold areas, be sure to bundle up and don't stay out too long because, yeah, we don't want you freezing to death. So, but a lot of areas, of course, aren't as cold as ours. Is it cold in your area, Irene?
It's very cold here, yes. This week's a little bit warmer. It's in the 20s, but when it's windy, there will be like a wind chill factor of 12. A couple of weeks ago, we were in the negative digits. It was actually -1 one morning. It was crazy.
My daughter's in Albany over there, and they canceled school and everything last week because of all the snow. Do you have snow?
We do. I'm in the North Town, so I don't get
Mhm.
hit quite as bad as the South towns do here because we get the lake effect snow, so we get a
Mm.
lot of snow. Right now we have maybe just a few inches though. It's not too bad here. It's beautiful and sunny today too, which is great. So I will be out for my nature walk for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, good. We That's music to our ears, right, Tammy?
oh, I was just looking at Ike's here. Well, hi, Ike.
Yeah.
She put, I feel you, Wisconsin, we're at -30. Oh my gosh, I can't.
Whoa. It is
Okay, I
cold.
got let us know how you're doing and dealing and coping with it. Let us know if you're able to go outside and you're brave enough.
Oh,
Heat wave today, 10 Fahrenheit. Feels like at zero.
oh wow.
Wow.
Very, very cold. Fur. So you need your extra blankets, but she has her doggy to help keep her warm. So
Yes. Well, Irene, we are excited to have you here and we want to know what you're all about. How is it that also nature has helped you or art?
but we
Wow,
want to hear
oh,
your
both.
story from
Mhm.
where you're from and all of that for our guests first. So
Well,
thanks.
I've always been a little bit of a nature geek. I love hiking. It's funny because I started my writing career and I started climbing mountains the same year and kind of for the same reason. It's not the happiest story. My sister was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So if I can just please plug in, please check your breasts, please. She was diagnosed, it was 7 months after her mammogram. If she hadn't found the lump, we wouldn't have gotten to spend as much time with her as we did. So please get yourself a breast buddy and check your breast. So she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I wrote a bucket list. I started writing a bucket list, and I literally planned my first climb. We climbed Whiteface Mountain. Wait, what? Not Whiteface. I've skied there, Mount Washington, which is the highest peak in the Northeast. in like 6 weeks, I started training. We planned the trip. I booked it and I climbed my first mountain. It was something on my bucket list. I'd always wanted to write a book. That took me a little bit longer because I had some limiting beliefs about my writing ability because of a high school thing or whatever. I don't know, I need to go into that, but it's a story I share a lot about how I was bullied by this substitute teacher. But I'd always wanted to be a writer. And wasn't until my sister passed that I was going through some of her things. And what I found was not one, not two, but more than 10 books about how to be a writer, how to get paid to write, how to speak on stages, and how to write a book. And I went home that night, got on the computer. I was a realtor at the time. I was a successful realtor for 10 years before I transitioned into writing and freelancing and things like that and consulting. And I just got on the computer and I Googled how to be a writer. And I signed up for my very first, I'd taken writing courses in college, of course, but it's my very first copywriting course through the
Wow.
prestigious AWAI, where I became a verified direct response copywriter. So, and I've taken so many courses since then about email marketing, started building my email lists and things like that, and just started writing, just started publishing on my blog and publishing all over, easing articles and Medium and things like that, and different websites and guest blogging and stuff like that. So it really had a lot to do. It kind of all ties in, to the month and the awareness too. But yeah, that's how I got started. But I get a lot of my inspiration while I'm walking and enjoying nature. And it's just so, so important to your health to get out there, which is why I love you guys and love what you do, helping to spread that wonderful word.
So did you
Oh my
have to work
goodness.
out, practice before you went on your expedition up the Mount Washington, was it that you said?
Yes, we did. So my boyfriend at the time, we hiked a lot and we also did a lot of bouldering and rock climbing. And so we prepared every weekend. We went for a very long hike and lengthened them every weekend. There's a great hiking around here. We did most of it at a place called Zor Valley, and we would just hike for hours to build up our strength. And I've been a runner most of my life. Now I kind of do more run walking. I don't run as much as I used to, but I started running in cross country in high school and kind of been running and walking ever since. So even that I do pretty much daily. Um, Getting out, even if it's just a 10-minute walk, if it's really cold out, it just feels so good.
So did
Thank
you
you for
throw up?
sharing your story about your sister and making us aware of and reminding us of the breast cancer awareness. I am so curious to know if you wrote your bucket list for you to of things to do with your sister, or was that your sister's bucket list, or what was it? I'm curious about the bucket list.
I didn't even know she wanted to write a book. I didn't remember ever talking about it. And so until I found those books, that was when I learned. And it still took me, I still had such limiting beliefs about my writing capabilities that it took me a couple more years before I finally wrote my first book. And can I show it?
Oh,
And
sure. Please
so
do.
so this is my very first book. I've written over a dozen since. It's called Zipping It Up: How to Lose
Ah,
5 Pounds Fast and Look Great in That Little Black Dress.
I love
And
it.
thank
It's
you.
so
I
Zipping
know. I
it
was
up.
so proud. And it's only 41 pages, but man, it solves a real problem. I mean, so many women have reached out to me and said, Irene, I dropped 2 dress sizes. I'm so excited. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But I did it for my sister, and it is in her memory. And my sister and I have 2 children, so my weight has fluctuated. And especially living in the cold, you kind of like start craving the meat and potatoes type of diet. You want to have your pasta
carbs,
versus,
anything warm.
yeah, versus salads and stuff. And so and Natalie had always been battled with weight a little bit more so than but I go through my stages. And so whenever I want to look hot for an event or if I'm going on vacation, I shared exactly what I do to get ready to get, bikini bod ready or, get ready for that Saturday night event, that black tie event and get into your favorite little black dress or a wedding, whatever it is, but also because of your health. And being even 5 to 10%, reducing your body weight by 5 to 10% can decrease your chances of getting cancer and other diseases like high blood pressure, diabetes significantly. And so getting that exercise and being healthy and losing a little maintaining a healthy weight or dropping that few extra pounds is really, really life-changing as far as that's concerned too.
We had Eva saying that as long as it's a nice walk in the nature and not a cold walk environment, she will happily do that. And then Aika said, "OMG, I need that stat." She needs that book stat, and she's asking you to plug in the link in the comments there.
Oh.
So I just love it. I just love that then you wrote that bucket list for you, but in think having keeping your sister in mind, and it kind of helped you as a, do those things. How did you conquer that imposter syndrome or the mindset that you were not good enough to write, and then you went ahead and did it, and you've written 12 books now or more?
Yeah, a lot. And I'm featured in at least 3 book collaborations as well, which is how I actually became an international 2 times best-selling author. And it's those accolades and people reaching out to me and saying, "Oh my God, that was so funny," or "I love what you wrote." Or, one client of mine, I wrote a piece for her and she said, "Irene, that gave me chills." So getting that feedback and that response of the impact that my writing has made for people is what has really, really helped me. And I started, publishing articles before I wrote my book. But the real thing that really, the research process of reading, I read so many weight loss books and doing the research, and I'm like, I really am an expert. I know what I'm talking about. I know all this stuff. I've read every health magazine from Women's Health, Self, all of them my whole life. Now they're all online. And so I really felt like an expert, and I set a deadline for myself. I said, okay, this is the year I'm going to become a published author. It was 2017. I remember we were on vacation in Maine, me and the kids, and I'll plug that in a second. We were on vacation. It is on Amazon, but I'll give you the direct website as well, which is under construction, but you can get it there. I just decided that year. And of course, everything got in the way. I'm like, I'm going to work on it on vacation. Well, we were eating lobster and we were going to the beach. I did not. I did research, but I did not start writing the book. It wasn't until the end of the year and the kids were on break and, the 2-week vacation holiday break from school. And it was literally 2 weeks till the end of the year. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like if I don't do this, I will not achieve the goal that I set for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally wrote, published, and sold my first book in 2 weeks. And
Awesome.
it was a choice. It was a choice. I did revise it a few times after I published it before I put it on, because I put it on KDP first and then I did the paperback version. Back then we didn't have hardcover on KDP. And it was actually new because people were transitioning from CreateSpace. But that's more about the publishing side of it. But I made a commitment to myself, and giving that deadline, that goal for yourself was really, really powerful.
Oh yeah,
So
I work with the deadlines. I tell Tammy, tell me when you want that by, because I work best with deadlines. Sorry, Tammy.
oh, I don't want her to go back to that high school teacher,
Yeah.
that substitute teacher. And the reason why is words matter. When we speak words to people or how we talk to people, our posts, different things, they can affect somebody in a positive or negative way. And the reason why I asked you to bring you back to that substitute teacher, Irene, is because I actually had an art teacher who told me in front of a class that I was not pretty enough to ever model because I had said, oh, yeah, I want to model, I want to be an artist and all these things. And I was only 16 at the time, told me I could never would mount to being a good artist at all. And just was really negative. And I already was from a home where my dad and mom were very negative, especially my dad.
Oh my
Um, but I had a teacher that told me that. Needless to say, and got mad because I actually did win a scholarship with Disney for art, but I didn't tell him. I didn't let him know that I did more than pottery because he was just always so negative and so mean. And so it's interesting. So, what did your substitute teacher? How was that? Because
Well,
I know
first,
other people have gone through this too. So.
I cannot tell you how many people can relate to that story, Tammy. So thank you for sharing that. And I'm sorry that happened to you. But I do believe
Yeah.
everything happens for a reason, and it wouldn't have worked out the way it did. I may have taken journalism in school, and instead I went to school for business. And I too, and sometimes when your family kind of tries to discourage you, it's not because they don't think you can do it or, but it's because of the experiences they've had. And of course, things back then were a little bit different. Women weren't even police officers back then, or firemen, fire people or anything like that, getting those other jobs. It was very, very different. But sometimes it's just because they care about you and they don't want you to fail or get hurt. Because
Right.
when I wanted to be a doctor, I was a straight A student and I said, I want to be a doctor. And, people said, oh, honey, why don't you be a nurse? You're pretty.
Mm.
Marry a doctor. I
Wow.
mean,
Wow.
yeah, I was forced to take typing um, in high school to learn just in case I needed to fall back on secretarial work. Well, had I known that I was going to spend so much time running it on the computer, I wouldn't have put up this barrier of going, I don't want to, I'm never going to have to fall back on secretarial work. I wanted to own my own flower shop. I was taking horticulture and people were like, oh, you should do this. And so I totally understand that. What happened with that was my English teacher fell ill near the end of the school year. And I was a straight A student in English. I loved writing. I never, it just flowed. It just came easy to me. I thought about journalism and things like that, like being the next Katie Couric. And as he came in and filled in for the rest of the year. So he was like a permanent substitute teacher. And I got my very first graded paperback from him, and there was a big red C on the paper. And I didn't know what I had done wrong. And I was really kind of this geeky, awkward kid with glasses and just, and I was really nervous to go up to him. But after class, I had to find out, he affected my grade. Talk about a
Yes.
lesson in power, right?
Mhm.
And so I went up to him terrified and I said, can you please tell me why I got a C? And he said, it's a bad paper. And I said, well, can you tell me what I did wrong? And he said, you're a bad writer. I can picture his face and hear his voice like
Oh,
it was yesterday.
yeah.
I mean, all these years later. And it really affected me, really affected me. I mean, he really crushed my dreams of ever being a writer, ever being an author. And I took a different direction. And um, I mean, he didn't even give me any notes on how to improve my grade. Like he wrecked my grade. And it was really just a difficult situation. But now when I hear his voice, and honestly, and someone has asked me, like you said, you didn't go back and tell that teacher, kudos to you. I just think to myself, he was just a miserable person. I would see him on my bus in the morning. I mean, he's not even a teacher. He was a fill-in, substitute.
Well, and
And
I think some teachers, what I've noticed, because I've subbed before at schools and have taught at schools, some teachers go on a power trip. It's all about them. And then you have these other wonderful, wonderful teachers who are there to teach, who are there to listen and to help
Yes.
others. And and we all are a teacher. I was something that our pastor had said, and examples of my grandparents were great teachers. is to, we are all teachers, so we need to all be careful of the words that come out of our mouth. Make sure that we're not demeaning. We don't have to condone stuff, but we don't have to demean somebody. Or, it's like when you're working, when I'm asking my grandson, because he wants to be a doctor, he said, and I did say, are you sure? Is that what you really want? Because I'm asking, and he knows it. I said, is it because you want the money? Or is it because you like the job, like what it's about? Because to me, it can never be about the money. It needs to be about what you're learning and the job. And I'm like, I don't care if you quit 10 years from now or a year from now, or if you do it. I am proud of you no matter what. But it's the listening. And yeah, no, I never went back and said a thing to him. But what's funny is somebody's like, oh, his I won't say it because I don't, but they asked if I wanted to go back and celebrate this teacher a couple years ago. And I'm like, no, that teacher didn't teach me a thing,
Yeah.
in ways it helped me to strive. But back then, because there's people that think, and different coaches that think if they do things or say things like that, it'll make you some people, it's like if I'm belittled or put down, then I'm going to strive more, type of philosophy, where others of us, that's not how we get help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some people get shut down. I want to say hello to Pam. She's with us and saying hello. Susan is here too. Ika is still here. And then Eva. Eva is asking if she reads your book twice, will she lose 20 pounds?
Well, unfortunately, you can't just read the book,
You need to
but
do, right? Take
you have
action.
to do it.
Oh, I was hoping.
My friend Charlotte, she dropped 2 dress sizes in 6 weeks. She lost 8 pounds.
That's
And
very
if
good.
you, and it really does teach you like a lifestyle change. So
Mhm.
yes, you will. It is even if I need to lose, 10 pounds, which actually right now I do.
You read it yourself
Eating
too?
way too much pizza. I do. I go back to these. Although a lot of times I go through stints where I'm really pescatarian or even vegetarian. So I don't eat a lot of meat. And I have been meaning to write a vegetarian one as well but I just, it's like on mine. I have a cookbook half done. One of my reviewers wanted a cookbook. So yes, if you do the work and the whole method behind the zipping it up, my zipping it up process is changing your habits so that you start to love eating healthier and you start to love exercising because I teach you ways to motivate yourself to do exercise you love. I hate going to the gym, with the exception of spin classes. I don't like it. I run into old boyfriends. I don't want to be there. Like I don't I don't know. People make comments about you and your gym clothes. I don't know. I'm not comfortable working out in that setting. So if that was my only exercise, I would never exercise. But I love taking the stairs every opportunity I have instead of taking the elevator, going for walks. These are things I love and look forward to. And for spin classes, I had a spin buddy for a while, which was great because we would literally get up and meet at the gym at 5:30 before it was busy. And I'd go in, spin, go home, shower, and get ready for work. So these are all little tips that I share inside the book to help motivate you. And good luck and good for you. Just make a decision and do it. So thanks for
When,
asking.
yeah, when the world was in lockdown and everybody was learning how to work out virtually at home, I'm like 7 or 10 years ahead of you guys because that's the way I've been doing it. I'm with you, Irene. I kind of envision living a gym life. And I will like that sometime, someday. But while I have kids, need to take them to school and come back. Anyways, I don't know. People fit it in and good for them. But I wanted it to be more organic. And I have worked out maybe 3 to 5 times a week for 10 to 20 minutes. And that's it. That is it. Because if we do, but we're committed to do it consistently, even writing a book, 15 minutes a day, it adds up to a lot of good progress and great results at the end of the week, at the end of a month, and at the end of the year. So and it piles up and compounds is the word that I'm looking for. I'm sorry. It compounds and to give you good results. So Susan's saying that my husband taught technical education for 21 years, was partnered with NASA for 10 years, taught drones and rovers, has students that are millionaires now because of his teaching. That's awesome, Susan. He
Wow.
retired 2 years ago. He was an amazing one of a kind teacher. And it is true that we're not going to be an inspiration to everybody. And there's some people that resonate with us or not in our way. But as long as we do not shove away or repel some people because of our ways, right? It's just by choice. Hey, no, Lori was a good coach, but I found another one. But for people to tell me, no, I didn't step into my place as a coach because I said something discouraging or insulting, that's horrible. And I would never want to be, known or remembered by that. So we, like Tammy has said, and her experience with her teacher, like Irene said, that guy, other than a fill in and being bitter with life, I think he probably was frustrated with himself because probably he saw in a high school student how good you were at writing, and he didn't like that. And he probably gave you that grade because of maybe jealous or something. But hey, maybe.
Never know.
Well,
Yeah.
and some people just should not be teachers, or after so many years, they just become bitter. And so that's when they should do something else. I guess it's giving yourself permission to do something else. If you find yourself not happy, it's going to portray to other people, right? There is, and I want to say kudos to all the wonderful, wonderful people who are great teachers and coaches, because there are so many. There's just a few bad apples, and
Yeah.
I've ran into quite a few. And it doesn't matter what field it is, it's our attitude,
Yeah.
And if you're not sure what to say to somebody, just
Don't
don't
say
say
anything.
anything. Don't
Exactly. Or if you
respond.
don't have something nice to say, don't
Don't
say
say
anything
it.
at all.
Susan,
Yeah.
if you can type in your husband's name, we can say, be more like Mr. Jimenez or whatever his name was.
Oh,
It just
Lori,
makes me so happy.
can I quickly go back to what you were talking about a few minutes ago about how, even if you just get 10 minutes in, I love that. I think there might even be a term for it, like the 10-minute rule. And if you exercise 10 minutes 3 times a day, it's equivalent to a 30-minute workout. It makes no difference. It doesn't have to be all together. So even if you do 10 minutes of Pilates in the morning, go for a 10-minute walk, and then in front of the television, grab your exercise ball and some weights and just pump your arms and do some biceps, and boom, you've gotten in there 30 minutes. Everyone can squeeze in 10 minutes a day to do
Yeah,
something healthy or productive.
because what
well,
happens
like
is
you mentioned, I was going to say, like you mentioned, Irene, it's taking the stairs, it's
yeah,
parking far away.
and that nature
Um,
walk.
it or going on those nature walks, it's like when I go down and feed my chickens, and I try to walk extra even if it's not too cold. But it's doing those extra little things actually add up. Even cleaning house is an exercise. So if we look at it that way, sometimes it's less boring, right?
Put on some music and just dance for 10 minutes. I do that sometimes. I'll just put on some music and I'll look at the clock and I'm like, I'm just going to dance for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever. And especially when, it's so cold and, here, in the Western New York area, we can go days without seeing the sun. And so, cheering yourself up because mental health is really super important too. And I think was it yesterday? It was this week was National Suicide Prevention Day, just this week. And I think because so many areas, don't see the sun for a while, it can be really, really hard. So yeah, so good for you. Even just to even open a window. And I will literally sometimes if I'm getting a little overwhelmed or, with everything that I have going on, and I will just go to the window and just breathe and just practice gratitude for the fresh air. And even that can really pump up your mood.
Yeah, people make this at the beginning of this year. This is why Tammy and I didn't even talk about goal setting at the beginning of the year. It kind of gets old. People are you're on your own. You're like, as it's a pick up a word for the year or things like that. But people don't know how to set goals, and maybe we need to do this maybe mid-year or whatever, because every day is the first day of the rest of your life. It's my little mantra that I say every day. We can wake up and it's a new year. Every birthday is a new year for me, for Lori
Oh,
Beard,
love
so
that.
so
I I love that, Lori.
they come up with unsurmountable, unrealistic goals that, of course, if they say I'm going to spend an hour a day at the gym, that is so hard for it's not realistic for my life. And instead of 1 hour at the gym, I'm like, well, I can't do that. Let's just do 10 minutes in my house. And the beautiful thing is online, there's so many options. I do Zumba someday, I dance, I do my core, I do legs one day, buttocks one day. And it's
Yeah.
just all of it is right there at our fingertips. And okay, I'm gonna write my book in 3 months. No, that's unrealistic. Irene can attest that maybe one book you wrote it very quickly, right? Like in 2 weeks, but it's a very
And
short
other
book.
books, my best-selling ebook I wrote in 2 hours. So,
That's
but
awesome.
my big historical fiction that I'm working on
It's
is going
taking
to
you
take me probably for a few more years, because
right.
research and there's a romance story. I mean, so it really depends on the type of book that you're writing. And there's so many different types of books. If it's a how-to book, you could do it in a day,
Yeah.
realistically. And I know other people who've written books in a weekend and they did it all on audio and they just had
Mhm.
it transcribed. And so
Right.
there's where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
There are resources out there for you to get that done. And you totally read my mind a minute. You keep reading my mind. You were talking about about how every day is a new year. And I often find myself writing to myself in the morning as I'm doing my like journaling or practicing my gratitude. Today is the first day of the rest of your
Of your life.
life.
Yeah. I,
So what if you had that piece of chocolate cake last night? So you don't need
That's
to beat
what.
yourself up about it.
Did you notice I made you post about your favorite dessert?
I
Your
love it. I love it, Tammy.
I posted it
Life
this
is too
morning
short.
in our group about go ahead and eat that dessert first, because it is so true. And everybody is different because I had somebody tell me, oh, just take 10 minutes a day to write on your stuff. And so I scheduled myself an hour each day. It wasn't doing it for me. So I sat down and within 2 weeks wrote my book because kind of like art pieces a lot of times I'm doing 5 pieces at a time when I'm working on pieces because there's a different things that I have to do. And then other times it might just be one focus. But if I only did 10 minutes a day, it would take me years to
Oh
do
yeah. Well,
anything on my stuff. But everybody's different. So it's like
or
you
every
find
project
your
is
own
different.
vibe, what works
Yeah.
for you.
Every
So,
project is different, and that book, the fiction, like it's the Stephen King's out there, the J.K. Rowling's out there, of course they didn't come up with their fiction storybook that was going to be a series with very deep and developed characters. That's different, and of course, and I like to say, Irene, to all our guests, in case of you're not aware, that piece that you see behind Tammy is not a virtual background, is her art that she does. That's her art that
Beautiful.
she's referring to, is 3D art. And of course, Tammy cannot do, and her masterpieces are beautiful masterpieces because she needs to take the time. At the same time, like I'm sure you didn't do it in a month, you didn't do it in 2 weeks. It's still it's prolonged, right? And it takes longer because there's a method
right. And
to
you
that
have to schedule
math.
it.
Yeah.
Like you said, both of you said you have to schedule it and you have to block time out. And I had to, as an artist, I had to get a calendar and block time out in it and
Mm-hmm.
on the phone, on in my phone calendar as well, saying, I'm sorry, I have this, I'm booked working. Because when you're working from home, people think you don't have a job. They don't think you work.
Yeah.
And so I had to schedule my time
Block it out.
for prayer, block out, time for exercise, different things that I wanted. And of course, then you can fit in like, okay, yeah, I want to have lunch with my granddaughter, or I want to do, dinner with here or whatever. But if I don't set a block time, I will not get anything done. Because what you do is you find it was like I was talking to a client yesterday, and she's like, I just find myself just scrolling on Facebook
Oh.
constantly because she doesn't set a time. And it's like, you've got to set yourself a time. So it's like, okay, I'll do 10 minutes of scrolling or 20 minutes. Sometimes we need that just for ourselves to give ourselves space and to do that.
Well, sometimes you just need to watch some cute kitten videos. I mean,
Yeah, and there's
Exactly.
nothing wrong with it, but
Oh,
yeah, have you heard of the Pomodoro method?
yes,
Yeah, and
yes,
I
25
don't practice it
minutes.
enough, but I do
Mhm.
similar, but it really, really is effective. Can I share it for those who might not be
Sure. Before you
familiar?
share, I love the activity here with the
yeah.
audience
So,
live.
man, sorry.
Susan says that her husband's name is Louis or Lois. Be more like Lois as a teacher, inspiring and making millionaires. Aika said something like about your teacher, Irene, that you had the horrible experience with. She says, yes, those comments are unacceptable indeed. Or two, it makes us wonder what happened to their life or what happened to these people's lives, right? To make them react the way they did, meaning what happened in his childhood or bringing. And yes, that's where we need to tap into our compassion and feel some mercy for them. I actually pity him for having experienced whatever he did to make him that way. And then Aika said that she can't even write a to-do list in 2 hours. So I guess she's impressed by you writing a book in 2 hours. And then Pam is saying it took a catastrophic cardiac events over the course of 18 months that caught my attention for the need for my exercising and paying attention to my body. Pam, this is sad, and I'm glad that hopefully you're paying more attention to it now so that you can preserve your life and live a better quality of life without those events, huh? And yes, like Aika, we pray that all is well with you now. And Pam is saying also, Lori, I am the proud owner of two of Tammy's 3D art pieces. That's so awesome. Yes, I know that, Pam. She's just rubbing it in. That's so great. Enough reason to celebrate. I get it. I get it. And yeah, that's so good. Working on stamina and all that. I love that. And the Pomodoro method, yes, Irene, as a matter of fact, in my productivity masterclass that I have online course, I mentioned the Pomodoro method, and I'll let you explain it, Irene.
Oh, that's wonderful. And Tammy, just can you just imagine if she had let that teacher stop her and all this beautiful work that you've done that, now just help so many people enjoying in their homes. And it's that piece is absolutely stunning and beautiful there.
Thank
So
you.
the Pomodoro method is when you block out, you shut off all notifications, block out everything for 20 minutes and then or 25. You really have to choose what works for you. They say that you should not go longer than 30 minutes because your brain isn't, functioning. And I can get lost for hours. And Tammy, you probably too, where I start writing and I'm like, I forget to eat, you know. I don't do that much anymore, but then you just take 5 minutes to check email, go on social media, whatever, check messages, and that's it. Get a snack, bathroom break, whatever, 5 minutes, and then go back to 20 minutes. And so you'd be amazed if you even just do this for 2 to 4 hours, how much you can get done. And you literally set a timer for that time. And so when that 20 minutes is up, you're like, oh, wait, no, maybe finish your thought real quick and then go do your thing and then come back, dive right back into it. So I hope that that helps someone. And that's so great that you have a productivity class. That's awesome. Right?
So it totally helps. I had an accountability partner. We used to just get together on Zoom to work. Her on whatever she was working. She was an attorney and all that, and I was working on my things. What do you want to accomplish today? Blah blah. We would tell each other, okay, 1, 2, 3, go. Sometimes though, like you said, Irene, we're in the zone. And if you don't need it, if you don't have those biological or psychological, mental need to stop, keep going. Why not? I think the Pomodoro method is a great way for you to get into the habit of not being distracted and shut off distractions until you get into the habit. And it just builds up for you to become more productive But yes, you still need to eat, Irene. You still need to eat and go to the bathroom. But yes, until you develop, people want to meditate. You cannot start meditating if you haven't done it for an hour, for 30 minutes, for all that,
Oh.
you can just set that timer for 30 seconds and see if you got distracted with the squirrel or whatever, right? And then build up from there. 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and then you are progressing, you are measuring your progress to then turn it into something more habitual, more of a habit. So I feel like social media gave lots of all ADHD habits. Totally agree. Right now, I have two moms. My mother and my mother-in-law like have been recently out of the hospital. So I've needed to kind of like have my phone by me on the alert because of those situations. I have children with mental health issues. I have adult children that are out of, one in New York, two everywhere. So I've needed to kind of always be in the loop because if there's an emergency that happens, but I'm like, okay, I've checked in on everyone. I can give myself this next 15 minutes because I am important too. I matter too. My projects matter too. So it's just so hard sometimes, but we can do it and build up from starting small.
Well, and when you do take that time, because like you said, Irene, when I get busy working on a product and because I have to wear gloves and different things. So, but when I get to a spot where I can take a break, I'll go on a walk or I'll go to the restroom, get a drink or something, because otherwise your muscles will start cramping. Or anyway, mine do. So I have to go and take a break and refresh. It's not a long break, like you said, it can be only 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes at the most, and then I'm right back working on that project. And sometimes I might be working on a tree and it's like, okay, I'm gonna go walk and look at trees. And that's what I do.
Yeah, and
Always.
it's a way to reward yourself also. It's a way to celebrate it like, okay, I'm not gonna look at social media until I finish this, right? After this 25 minutes, or I'm not gonna go on that walk until I finish this. It's also, if you look at it, it can be, or you can turn it a way to reward yourself or celebrate XYZ accomplishment. Hi, Carrie's here. I want to say hello to Carrie. She's saying hello. Hi, ladies. Hi, Carrie.
Okay.
So this
So
has
now
been an amazing conversation. I'm
it
excited.
has. So Irene, did you grow up in New York or did you live there your whole life?
I'm from Western New York. So I'm, sometimes when I say, Buffalo, New York, we're the home of the original chicken wings. Our team, the Buffalo Bills, lost in the playoffs. Oh, so close, so close. So I'm in Western New York. I'm actually literally 20 minutes from Niagara Falls and like 25 minutes from Canada. So for all of our Canadian friends out there, eh?
Mhm.
So I'm really close to Toronto. Spent a lot of time in Canada. Love it. Um, and I did grow up here. This is my hometown. I did live in North Carolina for a few years and I've traveled all over the world, but I moved back here after I lived there for a few years because it was home. But now that my girls are both away at college, and I don't think they're going to end up settling here, I think I might be moving on. I'm not sure where, but for the first time in my life, I'm free to basically live wherever I want. So, so yeah, that's kind of an exciting next adventure for me. So,
I was just going to ask you, what is your next adventure? Like, where do you want to go next?
well, I mean, the kids are like, well, we're not going to be, here and, where they're going to college right now. My one daughter's in Princeton, so proud mama, sorry to boast, but and my other
Congratulations.
ones, thank you. And my other daughter got her first choice as well, Wellesley. So she's close to Boston. So I'm thinking maybe a little closer to the East Coast. But I'm, also a digital nomad. I can work from anywhere in the world
Mhm.
with a phone and a laptop. So I'm very
I
blessed.
have a feeling you always live where it's pretty, where there's nature.
Yeah, nature, and I
Mhm.
love the ocean. So I
Oh,
would love to live closer to the ocean. It was nice when I was in North Carolina. We were only 2 hours from the ocean, so we spent a lot of time, weekends and long holidays and stuff like that, there, and even a day trip. especially when we had friends and relatives staying with us and visiting. And the kids were little then. And also because my youngest daughter was born there, it will always have a very special place in my heart, where she was born. So,
So
yeah.
I was there over the summer. We went to Boston. We did the Freedom Trail. I went to Canada, ate delicious funnel cake. I don't know if that's just we found it there or if it's very typical or iconic from Canada. I loved the being in the Niagara Falls once again last summer. So oh my goodness, so awesome. I ate crab cakes and delicious good stuff from there. We are so happy. Time goes by very fast when we're having fun. You've definitely been an amazing guest. Congratulations in all your books you've written. Good luck in the one you're writing. Sounds amazing, the fiction book. And if there's anything else you would like to add or encourage our audience, Tammy and I have amazing coaching programs. We have adventure retreats. What would you tell your audience in terms of saying yes to these programs and in terms of self-care and in terms of them just living their life to the fullest and saying yes to themselves?
It's just so important, so important for your mental health, for your overall happiness and well-being. Your productivity course sounds amazing. You're wonderful, wonderful teachers and coaches. So definitely, guys, grab it, sign up, and go on those adventure retreats. Just book it. They say once you plan a trip or vacation, it changes, I mean, your mental health significantly just looking forward to that trip. And I think,
Anticipation, right? The
yes, the
anticipation, the excitement.
anticipation of it. You see that light at the end of the tunnel, no matter what you're going through, you're like, okay, just 6 weeks till vacation. I can do this, you know? So
Don't
I
just
think
think about it, actually book it.
book it.
You got to
Exactly.
put that deposit down because if you're
Yep.
just thinking about it, you won't follow through.
Mhm.
A lot of times something will happen. You're like, oh, I think we'll do this instead, or this instead, or somebody will talk you into doing something different and you won't do it. So make sure you book it, right? Take that time for
Absolutely.
yourself.
And I watched whenever Tony Robbins does his free big summits, I watched a little bit of the Time to Rise because it's a great reminder. And he said the same thing. He said, when you're in that state, do it now. Like, don't wait because then, you'll forget about it or you won't actually get it done. So I love that, Tammy. Just book the trip. Go to their website. I've seen your amazing adventures and yeah, they look
Well, thank you. And the
fantastic.
thing is what people forget is when we're working with like sandals resorts and those things, we have to book stuff like a year
Mhm.
in advance or 9 months in advance. It's not 6 weeks. It's a year in advance. So we have to have those deposits in that say, hey, we are going to be there. When it's
Right.
connection retreats, like we have retreats up here going on this summer, we don't have to be 6 months out, but it still is good for us to know. So we make sure that we have everything in order because what people forget is everything books out fast. So
Right.
we appreciate it. Thank you so much, Irene. Well,
Well,
would
thank
love to have you
you.
here.
You guys are awesome. I love this conversation. We, hit on so many amazing, important things. I love what you guys do. Your podcast is wonderful. The Facebook group is tremendous. I will tell everyone to join. And so thank you again for having me as a guest.
Thank
And did
you.
any of
Thank
our
you.
guests have questions for Irene? So Irene, thank you for being such an amazing guest. I love having you on. And I'm sure there's so much more we could learn from you.
Oh, Morris Graham
Maybe
just
I'll come back
joined
again.
in. Morris, hello. He's calling us Art of Nature team. How are you, Morris? Good friend. He's been our guest too. We would love to have him back, of course. Just let us know, Morris. I just think that people were commenting, were sharing their own experiences, were feeling sympathy and empathy for your story, Tammy, your story, Irene, and I just think this was very enriching, very exciting conversation. I can say, Irene, thank you for your time and information. And Pam is saying thank you. Really good information. So basically, since last week. I love our guests that encourage, they share their stories of how is it that they conquer adversity, their imposter syndrome, thinking they're not enough for this, for that, because they're too old, to this, to that. And they all of a sudden get it, that something hits the spot and they wake up and to their passions and purpose. They turn their pain into purpose, their mess into their message, and they go live their life, their best version of themselves. So I love that you are one of those, Irene, and that you are helping our audience step up to it too. So
And one
yeah.
of the things I was going to mention that I have learned, and I'm sure you guys all have too, is sometimes the most compassionate and kindest people have gone through the most.
Yeah.
And it's because of what we've gone through helps us to listen better and to understand. Doesn't mean we're perfect, but we're there for you. So
And
And
look at what happened to Irene. Her sister had a very terminal diagnosis, and that's when she decided to do her bucket list, right? So, do we need to wait until tragic circumstances for us to live the
no.
best version of ourselves? No, right? Why not? Irene, tell us. And like I say, inspiration causes motivation, and it's great to have motivation, Ika, but action is what makes things happen. So that I just the mommy and the coach in me made me do this. So Irene, why we should not wait until a
but it
tragedy?
is action and cut. Yeah. Take action, you'll get inspiration, get motivation.
Yes.
Well, this has helped a lot of people. A lot of people have come to me and said, I finally wrote my book. Natalie never had that chance. She had something she wanted to share with the world. She had a message. She wanted to speak. She wanted to write. And I will never know what her message was. And it's too late for her, but it's not too late for you. So if there's something, anything, start that podcast, write that book, start writing, write that blog or start journaling for yourself. That's how Matthew McConaughey wrote his book, Green Lights. He'd been journaling his whole life and he went through his journals and put together his main core message. So everyone has a message. Everyone has a unique voice. And even if you think, here's another thing that stops people, they think, oh, it's been done before. It's been done before. No one has had your experiences, and no one can share your stories and your experiences the way you can. And somebody out there, even if it's one person who needs to hear that message, isn't it worth it? Even if you
Absolutely.
just help one
Very,
person, just put it out there.
very, very
Yeah.
true. So, and I was going to throw out there, thank you so much, Irene, for sharing that. It's so, so true. Our messages are important to everybody because we don't know who we might be helping. And we might not even find out till 10 years later. We just don't know. So watch those words, put them
Yeah.
on paper or whatever. I was going to throw this out there because we've had a few people ask before. We do look for authors that are looking to write articles that are 1,000 to 2,000 for our website. If anybody is interested, we're looking for authors. Doesn't mean we're going to accept everybody, but because it has to go with our values. And we do look at people's social media to see what your values are, how you treat others and stuff. We do look at that. But I mean, most people here on our group are awesome. Um, but we are always looking for authors for different things like that to help write blogs or articles about nature, art, positivity, um, different things like that.
Wellness, personal
Wellness.
growth. Morris just shared a formula, and Morris, if you can write an article and want to contribute for exposure with us, he said your personality plus your why equals your unique sauce. There you go, Morris. That's boom,
And
a great title for an
right. And we
article.
also take in photographs. If you have a photograph that you think, hey, this would work great on your website to go with an article, we
Oh
are always
yeah.
looking for that. And it'll give you credit,
Mm-hmm.
it's just I just wanted to throw it out there for our everybody that's here because you guys are so wonderful and we do love all of you.
And if
Especially
writing
me.
an article can kickstart your writing career and you can gain confidence like, oh, I wrote a good one. So, and then it can increase your confidence. Count on us to help you boost that confidence as we publish your article. Also, Tammy, there's the 1-day masterclass in your beautiful Idaho, beautiful property. Oh my goodness, guys. This was amazing when I went in September. You have to sign up, check it out for July. What other events
That's a
coming up?
3D. That's the 3D. July's our 3-day connection.
Oh, connection adventure. That's right. That's right. Please sign up. Check it out. Eating from Tammy's garden. It's just everything. You pick your own, oh my, vegetables and fruits and berries and
I know. I
everything
was
to
looking at the
table.
garden seeds. Yes.
It's just beautiful, beautiful. So you're welcome, Morris. Tammy and Aika is saying maybe you could make a post in the writing of the book group, Christopher Arthurson. Yes. Yes, thank you for and then Carrie said just book the trip is a must. Being in nature is such a huge part of my healing. And I know she has been to Olivia's retreats and things like that, and the pictures look amazing. And if Carrie, you can attest and tell everybody why is it that they need to check our website also and sign up to our events. That will be lovely. And thank you for what everybody is saying and contributing. I've loved the engagement today. Thank you so much, Irene. And anything else?
No, this has been incredible. And I would be delighted to do a guest blog for you. I have a wonderful picture of Mount Katahdin. I don't know if you do trips in Maine.
So yeah, I want to hear about trips.
Yeah.
So, and
we're open to new destinations. Yes.
And we're open to do new destinations. But yeah, we'd love to have an article and be open to, I do check out we're spelling and all that kind of stuff if we do accept an authors.
And Tammy, where can they submit those? Maybe we need to create a post, but right now, where can they submit those articles?
I will try to put something on later here today. Otherwise, just direct message us.
But then also unlocking freedom in nature
at
gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, as always, we're happy to have had this conversation and we look forward for the next one next week. Okay.
So everyone stay healthy, stay warm, and just have a great week. And thanks everyone for being here. And thank you, Irene. Love it.
Make sure you go out in nature today to discover, experience, and transform. Bye-bye.
Bye.